Tonight on CFTK-TV News, Terrace's fire chief provided information about a fire on the weekend. More people are joining the BC General Employees Union picket lines. And the Skeena Local Action Network recently organized a march through Terrace's streets.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cael Maslin, and here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond for today. Over the weekend, a fire broke out at 5039 Medique Avenue in the city of Terrace, but thanks to the efforts of the Terrace Fire Department, who had 3 other trucks dispatched to the scene, they were able to put it out in a bit over 10 minutes. As of right now, the cause of the fire is still under investigation, and while one person did suffer burn injuries from the flames, they are expected to have a good recovery. We recently spoke to Terrace Fire Chief Joel Brosson, who described the severity of the blaze, as well as the strategy the firefighters employed to get it extinguished.
The structure was fully involved, meaning the entire building was encapsulated with flames when fire crews got to scene. Unfortunately, there was nothing that was able to be saved. We were in a defensive operation, meaning we attacked the fire from the outside, and we just contained the fire to the area that was burning and protected the exposures and trees around it.
Brosson also went on to thank the people who called in the fire early and made sure that it didn't spread any further. In Terrace, a small community made a strong statement of solidarity as the Skeena Local Action Network organized a march through the streets, adding their voices to the ever-growing calls for peace in Palestine. CFTK-TV's Helena Sate has more.
The war between Israel and Palestine continues with heavy tolls on civilians and growing international calls for peace. In Terrace, a group marched from the City Council to the MP's office where organizers presented a petition echoing concerns shared in many countries. Arms embargo now.
Peninsula's land to Palestine, occupation is a crime.
From Cael to Palestine, occupation is a crime.
From Cael to Palestine, occupation is a crime.
Biro, bidam, nadivka ya aksa. Biro, bidam, nadivka ya aksa. Biro, bidam, nadivka ya aksa. Biro, bidam, nadivka ya aksa.
A march that echoed worldwide appeals for peace in Palestine and Canada to stop arms sales to Israel.
What do we want?
Arms embargo.
When do we want it? Now!
We're here as a group of concerned citizens and engaged people in Terrace who find the current Holocaust ongoing in Gaza to be completely unconscionable. And while we're a small group here in Terrace, we feel that we have to do everything we can in this moment in order to stop the genocide of the Palestinian people and demand that our government do more to stop the Israelis from massacring innocent civilians. In the most immediate sense, we're calling on the Canadian government to implement a 2-way arms embargo.
What do we want?
Arms embargo.
When do we want it? Now! What do we want?
The West, the U.S., Canada, other nations probably could have done more to stop them. In this case, we've been fueling it. We've been giving Israel all the weapons it needs to do this.
And in the march at the George Little Park, their goal, they say, is to stand for human rights, peace, and compassion, values they believe communities everywhere can come together around.
Coming together in collective direct action not only gives us hope, but it's our most important tool for change. So many injustices in this world are enabled by silence, by complacency, and by sheer ignorance of our rights, of our possibilities, and of the true state of things. By self-defeatism.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Helena Sate, CFTK-TV News, Terrace.
A conservation group is sounding the alarm after they said the Department of Fisheries and Oceans failed to renew contracts for fish monitoring at the height of the spawning season. CFTK-TV's Cael Maslin explains further.
Creek walkers have a very particular job of traveling streams in the region and counting fish, creating critical data to estimate stocks and manage fisheries. But some conservation groups are sounding the alarm as contracts have been terminated for local creek walkers at what is typically height of season in the Skeena and Nass tributaries.
It's an essential function for fisheries management because it allows us to know if we have enough abundance to allow for fisheries to occur. And what's happened is DFO didn't get it together this year for whatever reason to put proper contracts in place for these folks. And they cobbled together some short-term contracts to get them going for the season. And those short-term contracts ran out about 2 weeks ago. And so these folks have been dead in the water, and our salmon streams on the north coast have been going unmonitored for spawners at the height of the spawning season. It's an absolutely massive management failure by DFO, and it really needs to be addressed immediately to get these folks back on the water doing their job.
We reached out to the DFO asking why the lapse on Friday. They acknowledged the question and said they'd get back to us, but have not, despite follow-up. But Hill says one contract has now been reinstated as of Monday and another is in the works. However, he says this isn't an ideal solution. There's now been a massive gap in assessments in many areas. Hill says this highlights the chaotic and dysfunctional approach that the DFO is taking, despite a large investment made just last year.
This failure to keep our creek walkers in the water is coming right at the end of the Pacific Salmon Strategy Initiative, which is this program where the federal government spent $650 million over the last 5 years to conserve and restore salmon populations in BC. And again, this is the one job that they really need to do the most, is actually getting out there and counting the fish, which also lets them know if they've spent that money effectively and it's having the desired impact on the stocks.
For CFTK-TV News in Terrace, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
Coming up next is a deeper look into Vancouver's approach to tackling crime going forward. Welcome back. Turning now to the escalating job action by BC's public servants, hundreds more members of the BC General Employees Union are joining the picket lines. CTV's Rob Buffum has the details.
Strike action by government workers is escalating. BCGEU announcing it will expand its picket lines to an additional 14 locations and 10 new communities across the province.
Whether that's Nelson, Williams Lake, Kamloops, Smithers, Fort St. John, all across the province, you're going to see picket lines come up as over 1,000 more BCG members join their colleagues.
For nearly a week, the union has been picketing 9 sites in Victoria, Surrey, and Prince George, holding out for higher wages.
We're keen for a deal that's fair to workers, that recognizes the hard work done by government employees right across the province, making life better for British Columbians, and is also fair to taxpayers, recognizing the fiscal headwinds that the province is facing.
2 of the new locations for Tuesday will be here in Victoria, including outside this financial services building that is just up the block from where there are currently picketers in front of the museum and across the street from the legislature. The union says their chosen spots will continue to have minimal impact on the public, at least for now.
After a while, if government does not come to the table, that will change.
There has been speculation the strike will eventually grow to include liquor distribution branches, like it did in the last BCGEU strike in 2022, something the restaurant industry is bracing for.
If this was going on for more than 3 days, you'll start to see out of stocks in restaurants, absolutely for sure.
The Professional Employees Union has already joined BCGEU in striking, and public sector employees from another union, Move Up, representing workers at ICBC, BC Hydro, BC Transit, and Cap College, say they will join the picket line soon if there's not a good offer.
BC's labor movement is united and in the belief that public sector workers deserve better.
Robert Buffum, CTV News.
We look to the new charges in the escape of notorious fugitive Rabah Al-Khalil. Police says people posing as contractors helped him escape from jail 3 years ago. But the big question is, where is the convicted murderer? CTV's Shannon Patterson reports.
These two men, who allegedly posed as contractors to help accused murderer Rabi Al-Khalil escape from North Fraser Pretrial Center in Port Coquitlam in July 2022, have been arrested and charged, along with a third man with conspiracy to commit prison breach and prison breach.
Those individuals are Edward Ayoub, 48 of Ottawa, John Potvin, 49 of Ottawa, and Ryan Van Gool, 46 of Harrison Hot Springs.
During that investigation, police gathered further information that resulted in the prevention of a murder in Kamloops. As well, we were able to lay charges in a shooting in Maple Ridge.
RCMP also addressed media reports that Al-Khalil himself has been arrested in Qatar.
We have channels and systems in place when people have left the country and they are wanted, but in this case, we cannot confirm with you today that he has been arrested.
John Potvin, one of the men charged with helping Al-Khalil escape, is still at large, and RCMP say so is the man he allegedly broke out of prison.
At this point, Rabi Al-Khalil remains at large. So if anyone with information about Rabi Al-Khalil, we invite them to come forward and contact their local police agency. At this point, there is still a Canada-wide warrant and a red notice out for Rabi Al-Khalil. That has not changed.
You have to understand that Mr. Al-Khalil belongs to an organization that is known for its transnational reach. He could be in Canada, he could be anywhere else in part of the world.
A month after the escape, Al-Khalil was convicted in absentia of first-degree murder in connection with a deadly 2012 gang shooting at the Wall Centre in downtown Vancouver. As for how he could possibly have been able to walk away,
I think that's a question for our counterparts with corrections, because that part we do not control.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
Vancouver's mayor and the police chief say that their tough-on-crime approach will continue on the downtown east side as a controversial task force winds down. They say they plan on maintaining the work to target violence and organized crime, but as CTV's Isabella Zavarisi reports, some are questioning whether the numbers make sense.
The city's top brass lined up Monday to tout how a task force aimed at tackling public safety in the downtown east side is paying off.
The downtown east side is safer today than it was months ago, and that's because of Task Force Barrage.
Violent crime in the downtown east side and across the city is down significantly. As of today, our numbers are the same as they were in 2002.
Crime was already declining in the city prior to the formation of the task force in February.
I think they've conflated some of the data points. We know that crime's been trending down citywide, and unfortunately when they give this sort of data as a percentage, it doesn't really indicate what the real change is.
The $5 million initiative was launched to target crime and street disorder. One advocacy group says policing isn't the answer.
They're going to try and police their way out of all the problems down here, like housing and different things like that. It's not going to happen.
6 months in, the plan is to continue the work as Barrage transitions into something new, a VPD-led team to provide more oversight in the neighborhood.
We will move towards making the downtown east side its own geographical policing district, District 5. This will be a historical change.
A pilot project called Van Stat will also be rolled out.
It brings VPD's weekly computer statistic reporting together with monthly cross-department performance review meetings.
Moving into this more holistic approach is something we've been asking for many months, many years.
Barrage has faced controversy, allegations of arrest quotas, and the mayor's failure to get the funding approved by an oversight body.
I have briefed the Vancouver Police Board on the results from Task Force Barrage and our plans moving forward.
As for the cost, the VPD says it's working on it, despite the city being only months away from finalizing next year's budget. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
And now we take a look at both your nightly and weekly weather forecast. On the north coast, tonight we'll see partly cloudy conditions and a low of 11 degrees, with the upcoming week having several rainy days sandwiched in between a pair of mixed condition days, and the high will shift slightly between 15 and 16 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, their night will be subject to increasing cloudiness and a low of 11 degrees too, as the rest of the week should also see mixed sun and cloud days bookend a week filled with rain outside of that, as the high fluctuates from 21 to 14 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the night for them will have clear skies and a low of 7 degrees, with the next week or so starting off sunny before being rainy most of the rest of the time, and the high will bounce between 23 and 18 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. Highway 16 has construction work, bridge maintenance, utility work, road maintenance work, paving operations, and the Usk Ferry is currently out of service due to the low river level. Highway 37 has bridge construction, other construction work, bridge maintenance, and other maintenance planned. Highway 37A is still dealing with falling rocks between west of Mississauga and east of Stewart and paving operations, and the Nisga'a Highway has some road construction work. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come is a look at the numbers that detail how Canadians spent their summer vacations. Welcome back. Some people are raising concerns that Canada may be leaving environmental policies in the past. Since taking office, Prime Minister Mark Carney has cancelled the consumer carbon tax and is now pausing the electric vehicle mandate. Here's CTV's Colton Prail on where Ottawa's climate plan appears to be headed.
Climate-centric policies, once a hallmark of the Liberal government, are now being undone, and that's generating plenty of concern.
I think all Canadians should be concerned that this government is backtracking on climate action at a time when wildfires are still burning across this country.
Friday, Ottawa paused the 2026 target for 20% of vehicle sales to be electric and announced a review of the EV mandate. Mark Carney insists his government isn't stepping back from climate action. But when pressed, the industry minister would only clearly commit to Canada's 2050 net zero targets.
So we won't let go our climate goals, and we will continue to entice companies to develop clean tech solutions.
In a statement, the Environment Minister's office says Canada will provide an update on its emissions reduction plan as we strive towards our 2030 and 2035 targets. Canada has committed to reducing emissions by 45 to 50% compared to 2005 levels by 2035. But government models estimate it will only reach 24 to 38%.
Investment is...
The Conservatives are pushing Carney to go even further.
He's finally admitted that the Conservatives were right, just like we were right on the carbon tax. But he's doing a clumsy retreat.
Poilievre says Carney should drop Canada's industrial carbon pricing and the oil and gas emissions cap.
Mr. Poilievre is clearly not making climate change at all a priority. In fact, is moving policy from a Conservative perspective further away from things that might actually help solve the problem. And that maybe creates more space for Mr. Carney to continually differentiate.
Carney says elements of his climate plan will be announced through upcoming major projects, while a full competitiveness strategy will be unveiled in the coming weeks.
With summer vacation season in the rearview window, we're getting a look at new numbers showing us how Canadians spent their time. And as it turns out, there were fewer trips south and more museums, parks, and train rides right here at home. CTV's Maria Saru on how the Canada Strong Pass factored in.
Late summer on PEI, and a steady stream of people trek to Brackley Beach for a spot in the sand and a quick dip.
Going in the water?
We try to get out at least once a week, if we can, and we enjoy it.
That ritual was more affordable this year with the Canada Strong Pass. It was launched by the Mark Carney government in June and ended this week. The pass offered free admission to national parks and museums for many, discounted camping, plus lower Via Rail fares.
That certainly supported the
people coming to the beach, and so all good.
New numbers show a 15% increase in attendance at national museums, 10% more visits at Parks Canada places, and at least 50,000 Canada Strong Pass bookings on Via Rail, with final results in the coming weeks. Tourism operators in PEI say it came at the right time.
We kind of had this perfect storm of reasons for Canadians to explore Canada.
Some Canadian travelers are boycotting trips south of the border. In June, the number of return trips from the U.S. was down nearly 29% year over year. Canadians choosing to explore here at home also boosted local businesses.
We've certainly heard from operators that there's been an increase.
Now the push is on for a strong fall season, and at this national park, the crowds keep coming, soaking up the last days of summer. Maria Sru, CTV News, Brackley Beach, Prince Edward Island.
And now we turn our attention to how the stock markets are looking as of today compared to yesterday. The Canadian dollar is down 9/100ths of a cent. The price of gold is up $4.80. Oil is up 37 cents. Natural gas is up 2 cents. Aluminum is down $1.50. In Toronto, the TSX is up 35.38 points. The Venture Index is down 2.71. And in New York, the Dow Jones is up 196.39. And Nasdaq is up 80.79. Still ahead, a goat was captured in a photo that many will relate to. Welcome back. A close encounter between a camper and a cougar is caught on camera as police arrest the suspect in a rock-throwing assault. Plus, a goat goes viral for taking a very unfortunate and relatable photo. With Take a Look at This, here's CNN's Jeremy Roth.
Watch a camper keep his cool as a wild mountain lion casually strolls right by him in a California state park. Cameras at Leo Carrillo State Park in Malibu captured the close encounter as the lion slowly strode past the man, seemingly unfazed by their close proximity, before another camera angle captured it running off. The man later told KABC he simply tried to stay still when he spotted the lion approaching, which, according to a list posted by the Parks Department of do's and don'ts when encountering a lion, is one of the exact right things to do. The park said no injuries were reported from this surreal sighting of worlds colliding. Another caught-on-cam encounter, this one involving a rock and a hard case. Police in Colorado released video showing what they said was a suspect hurling a 10-pound rock through the window of a police photo enforcement vehicle parked in a school zone. The rock smashed the van's window and, according to Greeley PD, caused a reported $2,600 in damage, but thankfully the technician inside wasn't seriously injured. The suspect was spotted fleeing the scene, but police say he was later apprehended and hit with a slew of charges. One last caught-on-cam moment, this one featuring a face only the internet could love. This is Joe, and this is Joe's big derpy face, which according to WBAY has catapulted a Wisconsin zoo to internet infamy after the goofy goat struck a googly-eyed pose that is racking up buku views online. But it hasn't stopped there. Joe's fugly mug is now fodder for memes, making this silly Billy the new poster boy for what you hope you don't look like when the flash goes off.
Who hasn't had a bad picture? We've all felt like Joe a time or two in the past.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
That's all our news for now. From everyone here at CFTK-TV News, I'm Cael Maslin, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.